Hey everybody, it's Mr. Greg, and I'm here with Professor Holly Ely. Hey Holly.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Don't ask. Hey, friend, my furnace went out. I live in Indiana, and I came home today, and I was like, "Ooh, why is this so cold in here?" And I go to turn up the heat, and the heat is up, but it's not blowing anything warm. So
That's
yeah,
awful. Well, I hate that. Well, hopefully it'll get fixed, and you've got some space heaters.
for sure.
Well, we are really excited about tonight's Facebook Live because we are getting to talk about something that is incredibly challenging for every single one of us. And we now have something that's going to make this easier. Writing, I think, is one of the most difficult things we teach, especially in early childhood. It was hard when I taught 5th grade. It was hard when I taught 2nd grade. But at the early childhood level, it is
so hard.
Seriously, it makes me want to pull my hair out.
Yeah.
Because the kids have the ideas, right? And we know like the phonics side of it, like, right, like how to get them to write the words, but putting it together in writing is a lot. And so I'm really excited about this tonight. And before we get into all the good stuff, I want to mention a couple of things. We do have some giveaways tonight. We are going to give away one registration to the Science of Writing course, which we'll chat about. We're giving away a set of my Smorgy books. We have 2 of them, so somebody's going to win 2 of our Smorgy books. And we're giving away a $15 TKS gift card. So we have some really great giveaways tonight. All you have to do to enter is be here, hit the share button, and get in the comments. And so the system automatically picks winners based on engagement. So the more you're commenting, the more you're sharing, the more chances you have to win. And so as we're going through tonight, we're going to basically do a little PD, right? We're going to kind of go through briefly the science of writing with some ideas that you can take back to your classroom. We're going to show you a couple of resources that we have available for you. So questions, leave them in the comments because I know you're going to have a bazillion of them. So we'll try to answer your questions. The more you comment, the more you share, the more chances you have to win tonight's giveaways. So sit back, relax, and let's learn about the science of writing. Because here's the thing, and this is what I love about this, Holly, is we talk so much about taking things off of our plate.
Yes.
And this is actually going to take it off of your plate.
It is. It's going to lighten the load. Mm-hmm.
Right? Teachers are begging for things to be taken off your plate. We now have something that's going to lighten the load, something that's going to make it easier for you. And so Holly's put together some slides, so we're going to go through those. I'm going to be watching for questions. So let's get started, Holly.
Okay. Now, I was going to say, can you share the slides? Great. So, basically, kind of just to give you a little background on me, I've been a classroom teacher for over 25 years at the kindergarten, pre-K really through 2nd grade level. And I am telling you, every single year at the end of the year, I always step back and I'm like, okay, what should be my goal for next year? And I think every single year it's been like, I've got to get better at writing. And so every summer I read new books and I try to put a new system together about how to improve my writing. And I promise myself I'm going to, do writer's workshop every day. And I'm telling you, it just gets so frustrating over those first few months that by the end of the year, I always feel like, well, that didn't go well. And it's not because I'm not trying or not putting the effort into it. So as part of my PhD program, I've really studied deeply in the science of reading, which naturally connects with the science of writing. And so as I started to find out what research is saying in regard to how the brain learns how to write, and then looking at what we've been taught as educators, like in our PD and pre-service programs, I'm like, okay, this totally does not match up. And so it's no wonder that we're all feeling like writing isn't really working that great for our primary kiddos, because the way that we've been taught how to write doesn't align with how kids learn. And so when I learned about this, I started implementing it in my classroom and saw like such dramatic changes that it's just something that you literally want to share with like everybody. And so, you know, Greg and I talk all the time about like different research and things that both of us, you know, are thinking about and stuff like that. And so we're like, we have to put together this course to share information. And so we're just going to give you kind of like little tips or little peeks into some of the things that we talk about in our Elevate Academy Science of Writing course. So, so yeah, if you want to advance to the next slide. There you go. Really what we're going to talk about just a little bit tonight is why Writer's Workshop, which honestly, according to research, is what over 95% of us at the primary grades are really using to structure our writing. Why that's not really working well, and you're going to be relieved to know it's not you. It's really the structure of the beast. And then we're going to look at what does research say that we should be doing. And the greatest part is exactly what Greg said. Making the shift is actually going to lighten your load. It's easier to plan, it's easier to do, and it takes way less time, and the results are like much more positive. So it's like a win-win every way. Okay, so go ahead to the next one if you want to. Next slide. I wish I could advance those, but I guess tell you. So basically, most of you have heard of the reading rope, and there are different strands of skills that you need to teach kiddos. And then as they become like automatized and really good at them, they kind of all kind of like meld together and you have a proficient reader. Well, there's a writing rope too. And Joan Sedita actually created this. I want to give her credit here. But basically, we've looked at all the skills that a kiddo needs to become a proficient writer. And they involve everything from learning how to hold the pencil, how to correctly like form letters, spelling. It goes up to writer's craft, like being able to know how to choose the right words to make the story come alive. We talk about text structure when we're writing different types of writing pieces, that they have to be structured differently. Kiddos have to know about what like the structure of a sentence would be, the syntax. There's certain word order that we find acceptable in the English language, right? And then there's like critical thinking, really, which I kind of categorize with like the writing process. So in order to write a story, there really has been like proven steps that you go through. So that's the simplified version, but if you break those down, there would be like hundreds of sub skills in there, right? So writing is a lot to teach. And basically the system that we've been using has been throwing too much at our littles like all at once, and it's overwhelming. So go ahead to the next slide.
Before we go to the next slide, I want to point something out that just struck me. So as you're talking through this, I'm looking through like, oh yeah, generating ideas. Like we're really good at that, right?
Yep.
Like putting together punctuation. We're good at that. We have a new resource for that. But the one thing that really caught me, and I'm actually excited to see this, is at the bottom when it says transcription.
Yeah.
It says handwriting and keyboarding.
Yeah.
And that I think is powerful because first of all, we know how important handwriting is when it comes to the science of reading, right?
Yep.
And so I think I also love that that we included keyboarding in this because we know that so much of writing is now done with devices. So I love that that is on there.
Yeah. Yeah. What's great about the science of reading, the science of writing, just in general, is that it is ever changing because there's always new research coming out and all of that. And definitely when it comes to technology, you can't pretend like it's not there because that's definitely ever changing. So, yeah, really including keyboarding is such an essential skill, especially as kiddos get a little bit older. Okay. Yeah. So let me go back to see where we are right there. Okay, I want to compare my slides here. Sorry about this. Okay. So basically, I really love this slide because it is so true. And if you're a primary teacher, I know that you probably feel the same. Writing literally might be the hardest thing that we ask our students to ever do in school. There have been so many studies that show that we are asking kids to do so many like mental tasks that are really, really difficult all at one time to be active in the writing process. Okay. And so as adults, a lot of times we don't think about that because we've mastered a lot of those and we've automatized a lot of those. So it's not really that hard for us necessarily, but for our littles, it is so, so hard. It's not like, oh, let's just think of a story and let's try to like write it down and maybe worry about spelling. For our littles, it's a big deal to hold the pencil the right way, let alone figure out, okay, what sound is that? What letter represents it? How do I make that path of motion? Like, it is so much. And so really it is the task at the primary level that puts the most like pressure and overload on our brains, like working memory. And what we know from cognitive neuroscience is that we have like this much working memory space. And what happens is that if kids feel like that load is too heavy and they just feel like there's no hope for them to be successful, their brain literally, a lot of people refer to it as like it flips its lid and it just shuts down. And so I'm sure a lot of you can think back to times you've done writer's workshop and you have a great mini lesson and you're talking to them about, oh, write a story about what your favorite Christmas present was, right? And kids are so excited. And then they go back to their seats and they sit down at their table and then you just see them sitting there like frozen. And you're like, come on, like get busy. That is cognitive overload because they have the idea, but for them to then sit down and think about holding the pencil, getting the right path of motion, what letter represents what sound, what, words did we have in that sentence? Like it's too much. And so the structure of writer's workshop, where we ask kiddos to think of an idea and then like immediately like write a little story, like even if it's just a sentence long, is way too much. We cannot ask kids to do all of those things. It is going to be cognitive overload for 70% of the kiddos like in your class. All right. So if you go to the next slide, this totally
I think about adults. Like I think about me, like when I'm tasked with writing or when I sit down to write a blog post or start building a PD session and I'm staring at a blank page, I can get overwhelmed and shut down. So imagine combining that with the still trying to learn how to sound out the words, how to write the letters. Like imagine that.
The transcription skills alone are enough to like fill up that working memory space for sure. Right? So even with older kids who can write and form letters, think about how hard writing is. And we're asking our littlest learners to do both at one time. Literally, we're asking them to do something completely impossible for their brains. And that is why Writer's Workshop really is not the structure that we should be using. And like, if you want to advance to the next slide, I just love the picture. There's this little brain and he's trying to juggle all these things, right? Think about it. If you have ever tried to juggle, I could probably throw up 2 balls and like keep catching them. But if all of a sudden you're throwing 10 of them at me at one time, there's no way. I'm going to try for about 2 seconds and then I'm going to give up because I know I can't be successful. That is essentially what we're doing when we are asking our kids to participate in Writer's Workshop. We're saying, hey, you have to think of an idea. You have to think of something that's exciting. Now you have to go back and you have to figure out how to hold that pencil. You have to figure out which sounds and letters match up, and then you have to know the correct path of motion for those sounds and how the words are spelled. I mean, there's no way our kids can take on that much of a cognitive load. But really, what most of us have been taught is to do like exactly that. So we got to kind of like move away from that. The next slide shows what happens when we try to put our kids through Writer's Workshop, right? There is no way. They're not trying to be difficult. It's not that they don't enjoy the activity or they don't want to. It's just literally too much for their little brains to balance, Okay. And so when we're talking about writing, basically there's a ton of skills, but there's two different really groups of skills. There's transcription skills, meaning like what do you have to do to actually get something written on the paper? So they have to know how to hold a pencil. They have to know how to like correctly form a letter with a path of motion or like keyboard, right? And they also have to know what order to put letters in. Okay. Transcription, that's a lot. Now, on the flip side, the other area is composition skills. So those are the skills where they have to think of a good idea. They have to decide what their purpose is for their writing. They have to know if they're doing something to try to persuade somebody, that there's going to be a certain structure for that. If you just want to inform people, there's a different structure for that. So there's all these skills within like composition as well. Okay. Now, as a kindergarten, first grade teacher, we can't change what the standards are, right? Our goal is to make our kiddos like great writers. So we have to teach both transcription and composition. They have to learn both. But here's the thing. You don't have to tax kids with both of those types of skills at one time. Okay, so what we need to do at the primary grades is have our times throughout the day when we are working on transcription skills. When we're talking about sounds and what letters represent those sounds, and we're talking about handwriting, path of motion, and we're writing in shaving cream and salt trays and all of that. Those are transcription skills. Okay, so we definitely have to have time in our day for that. Okay, but those can be done in short bursts of instruction. It can be like, 5 minutes on handwriting practice, right? Path of motion, those types of things. So you're building up those transcription skills until eventually they're going to be automatized. That when, kids go to write a B, they know how that's formed. Okay. So we have to have that. And we do want them to develop skills with how to like tell a story, right? And they have to learn the writer's process and all of that. However, at the primary grades, when we're teaching the composition skills, we can teach those same skills, writing process steps, the structure of a narrative story. We can do that in shorter bursts of instruction where we as the teacher are working together in whole group or small group. And we're teaching them all about the steps of writing and all of that. But when we're focusing on composition, we're going to lighten their load and not make them do the writing. We're going to do the writing because, again, they only have so much working memory. So when we're asking them to do transcription, that's what they're going to do. When we're asking them to compose a story and write maybe a letter to the cafeteria lady requesting a certain lunch or whatever, you're going to do that in a group where you're taking them through the steps of the writing process, but their job is only going to be to compose the ideas, and you're going to be like the scribe, like writing it down, if that makes sense. Okay, because primary kids cannot do transcription and composition at the same time. Once kids master those transcription skills, maybe about first grade or so, then you can start combining them. Because in kindergarten, we will have already taught them a bunch of things about like writing stories and structures, but we're doing it in a whole group type of setting. And then finally, when their transcription has kind of been mastered, then they can start taking that on, if that makes sense. So it's all about cognitive load, realizing how much kids can actually focus on and do like at one time. We know for a fact, if you want to go to the next little.
Well, I want to jump in for a second because you've actually answered two questions that have popped up. So I want to point those out.
Good. I can't see the questions. So good.
Yeah. So I'm writing them down as we go. So there was a question about someone asked, is letter formation important during writing time? And I think you just answered that, right? Like you want that transcription in place. So, and then once that is solid and fluent, then you can bring in the composition piece. And we lost Holly, so hopefully she pops back in here in a minute. And so, what Holly was saying was until they have that transcription piece down really solid, late kindergarten, early first grade, then we want to make sure that we're jumping in and doing the composition piece. The other question that popped up, and I really hope Holly comes back, otherwise you're going to have to listen to me read the slides, is there was a question about B and D reversal. And this is actually something that Holly addresses very explicitly in the Science of Writing course. And it is something that with B and D reversal that Holly talks about, and she teaches us about this in the Science of Writing course, and it fixes it right away. So that is actually something that is addressed in the course. All right.
Sorry.
So, you're good. Exactly. All right, here you go.
Yeah, so I missed a little bit of what you said because I don't know what happened, but I got kicked off, but entered back in here. But yeah, transcription skills are definitely so important. So yes, like letter formation is important, but let's put that as an important thing during our transcription type of activities, right? And so when it's time to teach our kids about composing stories and all of that, let's lighten the load and know we're not going to like burden them with worrying about, you know, perfect letter formation when we're just starting to teach them about like composing a good story. We're going to lighten the load, and we're going to do that where we're the scribe, like, you know, doing it whole group or in small groups. And then as we're transitioning in to having kids write things, you can have them do it in groups and all of that. Because I'll just give you some tidbits that I found from recent research that I was so excited to find, is that research says that the most effective types of writing for primary students aren't done in like a 45-minute writer's workshop session. Okay, that is too much time for our littles. They can't focus that long. It just leads to cognitive overload. And so short bursts of like powerful, engaging instruction is better for writing. So right there, that makes me happy, because one of the things I totally struggled with every year was trying to find that half an hour, 45 minutes of my day every day to fit in writer's workshop. Because you know how things go, there's always something that comes up. And honestly, I feel like I had to get my reading block time in. I had to get my math time in. So if something had to go, I would shorten writer's workshop. Because it was also something that I didn't go away from like when I was teaching it and feel super successful about, right? So shorter amounts of time. The other thing is collaboration. Writing should not be about, I'm going to do a mini lesson. You think of your idea, you go back and by yourself write your story, which is a lot of what Writer's Workshop kind of structured things as. One thing that if you've done any PD on the science of reading, you will know that the brain is pre-wired for spoken language. Okay. It's not pre-wired for like text or writing. And so all good neuroscience would say, anytime you're teaching anything new, you start with what is known or what kids are strong with, and you connect the like more difficult learning. So anytime we do writing, we always want to work from speech to print. Okay. And so anytime you can get kids talking, they're going to like tell their partners what ideas they have for their stories or all of that. Or that's why small group and whole group is so great, because it involves so much conversation. And we know kids are good at that. That is something that they can do without being cognitively like overloaded. So when research says collaboration during writing is so important, that's why, because you're getting that spoken language going first, and then it's much easier to connect like print to the spoken language. So that's super exciting. So far we need to spend less time on it, and it needs to be more collaborative, which right away, as soon as you put activities where kids can interact with each other, they're going to enjoy them more, aren't they? It's going to be more fun. And these powerful bursts of instruction are going to end up creating so many more learning gains. It will really kind of blow you away, because we're not going to overload kids like we used to with Writer's Workshop, asking them to think of the idea, write the idea, do all the things. We're breaking it up into more manageable pieces, so kids are more excited about it, and they can see themselves mastering it And so they want to do it more, and it ends up with like better learning. So yeah. Any comments on that, Greg? Have you ever felt like that? Like it's hard to find the time for writer's workshop?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think like never in any of my schedules, even though I was told to do writer's workshop, never was there ever a writing block.
No,
Right?
there's not time. Yeah.
Right. And so, and I'm watching the comments, and somebody said that this was the biggest piece of new learning, was that not to make them responsible for both.
Yes.
But somebody said that they also said switching to the short bursts of targeted instruction, they've seen a tremendous amount of growth. And that's true because, number one, kids can't focus for a long time. And so we got to keep things short and quick, but we're still doing it, every day. And so they're still getting the instruction. It's just happening quicker, in a more targeted way, in a way that's better for them based on the science.
Right. It's more fun for them because it's interactive. And the other thing is that they're actually completing things. Like, I don't know about you, but writer's workshop, I would always start this great project and we would work on it for a few days. But here I am with like 20 some kindergartners. I'm running around trying to help each kiddo. People are just sitting there in cognitive overload. We're spending so much instructional time, not really getting anything done. And then I tell you, every May, I would open up my drawers at the end of the year and I would find, I don't know how many half-written projects that we ended up just kind of giving up on.
Yeah. And because you have to keep moving.
Yeah. And it's, so anyways, you won't have that with this new way of writing. And so the way that it's kind of structured is that it could fit into anybody's schedule, because a lot of these ways that we're suggesting teaching these writing concepts are integrated with like other activities you're already doing in the classroom. The one thing that we do ask is typically to have a little bit of time, not like 30 or 45 minutes, but a little bit of time in each of your day, maybe 10 minutes, okay, where you have a writer's process time. And so what happens during different times of the day, we have all these really engaging activity ideas for you that literally teach everything they need to know. I'm talking grammar. I'm talking syntax. I'm talking how kids in kindergarten will learn what an actual sentence is and how every sentence needs a who and a do, right? The subject and predicate. And they're going to learn all of these in interactive ways where they don't necessarily have to be the writer for all of these, but they're learning these concepts through fun, like literally like 3 to 5 minute games that you can plug in during your morning meeting, or literally like 5 minutes out in the hallway while you're waiting to go into music class. So everything is structured in these small bursts of instruction to teach everything you need to know about like these pre-writing and writing skills. And then you do need like about 10 minutes a day, and you go through like the writer's process. So on Monday, basically throughout the week as a group, you're going to go through these steps: think, plan, write, revise, and then like publish. So on Monday, every Monday, you're going to think about, okay, what do you want to write this week? And it's going to always be an authentic writing piece that has a real purpose. We're not just writing something on a worksheet. And what we've done for you is we put all the lesson plans together for you, and we literally share those out to you as part of our Science of Writing course. All the activity ideas for those short bursts of instruction throughout the day that teach punctuation, syntax, grammar, all that stuff. And then we have a read aloud book. And then our writer's process activities that are like that 10 minutes a day, we have them all structured out for you. So Monday, we will do a little bit of thinking. What do we want to write about? We talk about what is the task? What do we want to do? Who's our audience? Who are we writing for? And what is the purpose? What do we want to achieve? So we might have read a book about a little girl's favorite food. And so we decided we're going to write a letter to the lunch lady, right? So that's our audience. Our purpose is we're going to try to talk her into serving pizza once a week, right? So we just, that first day, we take 10 minutes as a class. We just brainstorm, because all I'm asking them to do is learn composition skills. So we think about what we want to do. The next day, we come back and we say, okay, it's time to plan. We decided we're writing a letter. What do we want to say in that letter? So we take 10 minutes to decide the main points that we want to say in that letter. The next day is Wednesday. It's writing. Well, we already have everything planned out in the order that we want to say it. So writing is actually the easiest part. And I'm going to show them through modeling how they can take their ideas. We're going to put them in full sentences. I'm going to write it. Then 10 minutes the next day on Thursday, we're going to pull it up and reread it and be like, hey, is there anything we can improve? Can we add some exciting words, some adjectives? And we're going to improve our writing. And then the last day, we're going to make sure it's in a publishable form, maybe that letter form. And we're going to walk down to the cafeteria lady and we're going to deliver this piece of writing. So, and every week, that's what it is. We're doing 10 minutes a day. And we're going through the writing process. So by the end of kindergarten, you better believe your kindergartners are going to know the writing process, how to think, plan, write, revise. They're going to know it. Now, were they the ones writing it every day? No. But did they still learn it? Absolutely. Right? So do you see this? We're lightening that cognitive load. We want to teach them these composition skills, but we can teach them that without making them do all the writing. Okay. During the day, we're also doing like, letter formation and things like that at different times. But we have to break up the tasks so that we don't give cognitive load. So I don't know if you want to say anything about that, Greg, or not.
I want to jump in about a couple of things.
Yeah.
I want to point out to everybody that what Holly just walked through was a sample lesson plan that's included in the Science of Writing course. But but you're going to get what I can't remember. Is it K2 or pre-K through second? Or
it's pre-K through second.
Okay. So we have lesson plans in the Science of Writing course that Holly is creating for pre-K through second. And they are complete, full, jam-packed lesson plans. But there's also opportunities for you to tweak and modify those lesson plans and plug things in. So this course, this information, these lesson plans will work with any schedule, any curriculum, any class. So I wanted to point that out. But also, Holly was talking about some of the fun games.
Yeah.
And so I want to point out some of these because we're working with Holly to create these resources called Fix It Up. We have 3 available now. There are more coming.
Yeah, we'll have
so
3 a month.
Kind of give you a little glimpse of one.
Yeah.
So here's one of them, and we've played these in my class the last couple of weeks. And again, 10 minutes or less.
Yep.
I mean, they're 10 minutes or less, and you've got this great writing lesson. So this one would be about subject predicate, right? The who and the do. Kids need to know that. And they get to dress up a penguin, right? So we've got our who, we've got our do. And so the way it works is I read the statement to the kids, caught a fish. And I'm like, is that the who or the do? And they're like, that's the do. So we put it under the do. And then they get to put some clothes on the penguin. And boom, we've had fun. We've played a game. They've talked. They've interacted. And now they understand subject and predicate, right? And then if kids are ready, they could there is a writing piece, a writing page. They could write if you wanted them to. Or you could have them combine the two if you wanted something extra, right? My friend ate a worm. So you could have them put them together. So this is an example of our Fix It Up.
There's 3 of them right now. So great because the way that we have literally made each of those activities is that you can totally use them with a complete non-reader in pre-K or a great reader in second grade. And there's challenge activities where they can read it on their own and take it to actually like write a full sentence and all of that. So yeah, that's just one example that comes from like our lesson plans. But what we're doing is we're just like not only giving you the ideas for it, but now we're starting to create the resources. And we're going to be cranking out at least 3 of these activities per month. And Greg, the greatest part is I usually play these in small group or whole group. But then after the kids have done them, you can place them in centers after they've already played them once, and it can be independent work. So
yeah, absolutely. And we've been doing these in my class. My kids love it. Short 10 minutes. So again, we have 3 Fix It Up resources available now. We have this one that I just showed you. We have subject and predicate. We have sentences or fragments, and then we have punctuation. I just did the punctuation one with a small group, and the kids loved it because they get to build an igloo.
Yeah.
So you can check those out. We'll drop the links in the comments. Jesse, can you put that back up for me? But right now you can get all 3 of those Fix It Up resources. They're all 20% off through 9 p.m. Central Time on January 24th. So about 24 hours or so. We'll put those the links in the comments. So check those out. Also want to remind you that tonight we have some giveaways coming up here in a few minutes. At the end of the live, we're giving away the Science of Writing course. So somebody's going to win a registration to the Science of Writing course. Someone is going to win a $15 gift card to the TKS store, which would be enough to get your Fix It Up resources. And somebody's going to win my first 2 books, Smorgy's Lesson in Patience and Smorgy Learns to Have Fun. So if you want to enter the giveaway, simply get in the comments, which you guys have been great. I have loved these comments tonight, and hit that share button. The more you comment, the more you share, the more chances you have to win the giveaways tonight. So Holly, let's get back to it. The slide that I have up right now is why the workshop model is failing. And I think we really kind of talked about this already.
We did.
The explicit instruction and that systematic instruction.
Yep. Let me see if I can find the one you're on. The sad face. Yeah. So basically, writer's workshop for me was thinking kind of almost like every day, okay, what's the prompt I'm going to give them today, right? Like a random prompt, and then I would share my idea. I might like model for them like the sentence on my board or whatever, and then I would encourage them to get excited, and they would get excited at that point, and then they go back to their seat. But that's when cognitive overload hit, right? They can generate the idea, but when they sit down to try to put that idea down on paper with all of the transcription skills and all of the other things, it's like overloaded. So let me tell you this, because I did a deep dive into where did this idea of writer's workshop come from. And it actually came from, I believe it was the University of Iowa. It was a format of instruction that was designed for college students. And think about this. Writer's workshop is not inherently bad altogether, right? But it is not great for students who haven't mastered their transcription skills. So if you're a college student and you want to improve your composition skills and like improve story structure and make your stories come to life, the writer's workshop, that format makes a lot of sense, right? Even for upper elementary students, yes. But what happened is it was working so well at those like higher levels that a few educators, we won't say names, that honestly, with the best of intentions. So let's bring this down to the primary level, right? But what they underestimated is that as an adult, they forgot how hard the transcription skills were and all of those things together. And so basically doing it all together is just like literally cognitive overload. We can't ask kids to do all of those things. So what we have to do is in short bursts of instruction, build up those transcription skills until writing is kind of like automatic. And then you can expect them to do composition and like writing together. So basically, like if Jesse's helping with us, our slides, you can actually kind of just skip through the next several because they just kind of reiterate again why the workshop model isn't the greatest. And I love the slide you snapped that because this is what Greg and I have been talking about so much, right? Go back to the slide before that, first of all. Who here has felt like this after doing writer's workshop with kindergarten and first graders, right? Like you are trying so hard and you're running around and you can't get to enough kids to help them because they're all at different stages, right? And you're just like, what am I doing wrong? Let me tell you, you are not doing anything wrong. No. It's just the way that we were really kind of told how to teach writing really isn't teaching writing. It's really just trying to practice writing with kids. And we know that writing is not a skill that's pre-wired. It's not like spoken language that if you just expose kids to it, they pick it up. Writing is not that way. So if you go to the next slide, then what our whole goal with all of this science of writing stuff that we're working on is to take things off your plate. And all of the research is standing right behind us. Okay. It's telling us spend less time in writing. Okay. Do it daily, but less time, short bursts of powerful instruction in ways that are collaborative and more fun, right? And you're going to get bigger learning gains from it. So this slide, okay, this is going to just kind of hit home what I've been saying. Writing, to be a proficient writer, which is that green box, right? Being a skilled writer, you have to have two big sets of skills. The foundational, like writing skills, the transcription skills, and then the yellow skills, which are like putting the story ideas together. We have to have both of them, okay? And we do have to teach both of them in kindergarten. But do we have to teach them at the exact same time?
Nope.
No, right? So this is, I always draw a picture of like a balance, right? Kids' brains can only like balance so much at one time. So when we're teaching transcription, keep it to transcription. When we're teaching composition, let's just let them think of the ideas and let's help them by being the ones who are like writing it down, right? So if you want to skip to the slide that says you need a scope and sequence.
Okay, but I want to address something that I keep seeing in the comments, and I want to just shout everybody out. Listen, I'm seeing so many people talking about like, oh, we did this. I feel so bad. My kids, tears. And somebody was like, oh, I feel like I didn't do enough and I can't believe I did this. Y'all.
It is not your fault.
It is not your fault. This is how all of us did that. Please. I know we, as educators, we're all like, same with the science of reading, right? Yep. We're all looking back and we're like, oh, I can't believe I did that. We feel awful. But listen, we did the best we could with what we had and what we knew.
And we were doing what we were told to do.
Yes. And now we know better.
Yes.
And we're learning to do better. And when we know better, we do better. And that's what we're here. That's what Elevate is about. That's what these courses are about. We are building a community so that we can do better together. And so please, please, please don't beat yourself up over this.
No.
Because we're all in the same boat. And we're all going to get out of that boat and keep going forward together. All right.
Yes. That is so big. And I, especially like with science of reading too, a lot of teachers are feeling so bad. Like I felt like I got punched in the gut for like a year when I realized that all of this, I was a reading recovery teacher, y'all. Like I was balanced literacy to the hilt and I thought I was the expert at it. And when I started to realize, wow, what I was doing wasn't best for kids, I made myself stuck for like a year. There's no time for that. The fact of the matter is, if you were doing something, it's because you were taught that, right? We were doing the best we could. Not one person intended not to do it the best way, but that's all we knew at the time. There's new research. We know new things. So just let it go. No judgment here whatsoever. You will never hear that from us. We've been in your shoes. We just want to help you feel better and like achieve better learning gains. And so that's what we're doing. And so just like the science of reading, if you've learned anything about that, basically research has said we have a list of every skill that a good reader needs to be a proficient reader. And they put it in a scope and sequence. We have the same thing for writing. And I'm telling you, as a primary writing teacher, I could have named maybe, 20 things that I knew writers needed to know. But there were so many skills that I didn't even realize or I took for granted. And so I put the scope and sequence slide in here because as part of this course, I share the entire scope and sequence of all writing skills that all kiddos need to learn. We've broken it down into grade levels. So what would be expected and what would come next. Then what we did is after we'd taken the scope and sequence, I took that scope and sequence and I created lesson plans for you to use in your classroom that literally hit every single writing skill that you need for kiddos to be proficient writers. So we wanted to share that this is just kind of a glimpse. This is the shortened version. We're talking in our lessons and our activities, our little short fun games, we're teaching transcription skills, letter formation. We're teaching writer's craft, vocabulary. We're teaching multiple meaning words. We're teaching grammar, right? Kids are going to walk away having the time of their lives, and they're going to know what adjectives are, adverbs, all of that. It's really mind-blowing because they're going to come away with so much more knowledge when you're using so much less class time and you're literally like playing engaging games with them. So we just had to share, we just had to like share some of this stuff with you. We're so excited about it that we can't not share it. So
yeah, and people are loving the scope and sequence. And again, this is all included in the Science of Writing course. And I love that Deborah says it helps keep you focused. Amen. It keeps you focused. It keeps you on track. And again, you're lowering the cognitive load for your kids, but we're also lowering that load for teachers, right? Because you've got the scope and sequence. So you know what to teach, when to teach it. You know what comes next. And Holly's including lesson plans. So it's all there for you in the Science of Writing course. So we're doing all we can to make this easier. And I know I saw someone say our districts should be providing us the best and most current. Like, yes, they should. And that's a soapbox that we can all get on. But we know that's not always the case. And so that's why we're here, is to try to help with some of that.
Definitely. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, Holly froze again. And so there was just a question that came up about the evidence and the research. Again, all of that is going to be included in the course, but Holly has shared some of that here in tonight's live. We've had a little bit of that research that she's been talking about. One of them was that the most effective writing is done not in 45 minutes of writer's workshop, but in those short bursts. And that's what we have in the Science of Writing course. Holly has these 10-minute activities, these 10-minute lessons, and then we move on. And, she said earlier that you've got like 10 minutes on Monday for this, 10 minutes on Tuesday, 10 minutes on Wednesday, 10 minutes Thursday, 10 minutes Friday. So it's all laid out right there for what you need. And so the lessons are included in the Science of Writing course. So when you sign up for the course, they're included. And so you get everything you need in that course. We also have our new Fix It Up resources that go along with that you can use in your classroom. All right.
And our goal is to keep creating more. Like, let me just give you a tiny example of some of the activities. Like there's an activity that we use to teach morphology called the morpheme monster. Actually, I think I could just walk over here in my little office, but so we have like this guy. Can you see him? We have this morpheme monster, and we play these little games. Literally, they're like 2 minutes a day, where we teach kids to pull out a word and they have to identify like the base word and then like the additional morpheme, whether it's like an S or an ING. So they're super fun games. We have Punctuation Police. We have Word Wizard that teaches vocabulary and multiple meaning words. There's just so many like super fun, engaging games. And what kids are doing is they're going away knowing things like every sentence, to have a complete sentence, has to have a who and a do, right? A subject and predicate. What types of sentence there are. Like the little activity that Greg was showing you, literally kids love it. And what they're learning in kindergarten in a developmentally appropriate way is the essential parts of a sentence and a subject and predicate, right? I never taught that before. So it is really, really fun and engaging.
And listen, I can vouch for the effectiveness of some of these games. Holly was at our house recently and brought the morphine monster. Adeline loved it. And actually, I ordered one on Amazon and it's sitting in my closet. And she actually found it today. And she was like, Miss Holly forgot her monster. She loved it. The other thing is with our Fix It Up resources. When Holly sent the Fix It Up about the fragments and the complete sentences, we printed it and put it in front of Adeline. And with like after us doing 1 or 2 examples, she was able to do it. Like we read the statement and she could tell us if it was a sentence or a fragment. That's how effective they are. And she sat here and wanted to play it because she got to, you know, dress up the penguin or build the igloo.
Right.
And so Adeline Rose can vouch for the effectiveness of these Fix It Up resources and the games because she's been doing them and they're working.
Yeah. Yeah. We had, this summer I did kind of a trial run. It was like it was for people in our Elevate community. It was like a summer science of writing, like kind of like abbreviated type of course. And we had some schools do that here locally. And then they've been tracking their progress because their teachers have put a lot of these things into their classroom schedules. And they have, it's awesome because like every probably 6 weeks, they send me their data and it is like mind blowing the differences that it's making. And any research will tell you, as you're improving anything, any knowledge related to writing, it's automatically going to improve their reading and like vice versa. So it's like this beautiful snowball that you get going. But yeah, so we're excited about it, obviously.
Yeah. And well, because like you just said, you're working with classrooms and you're seeing the impact. We've seen so many people in the comments who are already in the course who are seeing the impacts. I'm seeing it in my classroom with my students. I'm seeing it at home with our daughter. And so we know it works. And I know so many people I've seen comments about, oh, I wish my school would pay for this. We accept POs and you can actually get a school-wide license to the Science of Writing course for $1,000, which gives your entire school access for life.
That's drops in the bucket for your school.
Right.
Like, and remember, you're getting with the Science of Writing course, you're getting like 12 different modules that are like an hour to an hour and a half training, right? And all these resources that go with it and all of the lesson plans for like the entire year for like multiple grades. So I know it's actually insane, but again, our purpose, this is why I love Elevate so much. We just want to help teachers. And yes. So, we want to make it like as affordable as humanly possible. We just want to get the word out because our goal always is to just help kids.
And it's not just a course where you watch. Let me give you this: 12 modules, lifetime access. So once you get it, you get it. And it's all on demand. So it's all self-paced. You can watch it whenever, however, wherever you want. The other thing that I want to point out is this is something that Elevate is passionate about too, is we build this sense of community. Mm-hmm. Holly does monthly lives where you can actually basically talk. Oh, weekly?
We changed it to weekly. Every Sunday night at 8:00, I come on and I'm like, what are your questions? So we have this private Facebook group. This is the part I love, like the community part. So I have different little posts going out all week about fun little like facts about words or tips on things that you could just like tweak really quick in your classroom for writing. And then like every Saturday, we have a shout out Saturday and I ask anyone to share anything positive that has happened in their classroom with writing. And then Sunday morning, a post goes up saying, what are your questions? So all during Sunday, I collect your questions. And then every Sunday night, like if we have enough questions, I just go on live and we just sit and chat. So if you have any questions, I want to be like your virtual like writing coach. So it's not one and done. Like I'm here to walk with you through this process. And if you need something that I haven't given you, or if you have an idea, like you guys are awesome. Like I've learned so much from the ideas that you give me too. So it's just a really cool community.
Yeah. And again, that's all included in that Science of Writing course. We'll put the links back in the comments. I just dropped the link to the Pancake Monster. Everybody has been asking about it. So I dropped that link in there as well.
Okay. Other thing,
Casey, can you pull the slides back up too, so we can just make sure we've got everything?
I keep telling Greg and Jason that like the one that I use is cute and fun, but like we have ideas on how to make it better. So I keep telling them, you guys, that they need to help me create our own. That would be perfect.
Yes, we have lots of things
that they need to help me create one.
Lots of things in the works, lots of resources coming. The Fix It Ups will continue to come out monthly. So Holly is working on those. She works on them, then I get them, and then we get them to you. So lots of things coming. Before we wrap up here in a few minutes and do our giveaways, and again, if you want to enter the giveaways, we're giving away one free registration to the Science of Writing course. We're giving away a $15 gift card to TKS Store, and we're giving away my first 2 books, Smorgy's Lesson in Patience and Smorgy Learns to Have Fun. Click that share button, share this out, and get in the comments, and we'll pick a winner in a few minutes. There were a couple of questions I want to hit briefly.
Okay.
And I'll answer the first one because we talked about keyboarding early on, and somebody asked, when do you start keyboarding? Adeline started at 2. At her school, the Gardner School, they had a computer program called, I can't remember what it was, Be Smart, I think. Mm-hmm. But she learned keyboarding starting at 2. And so my kindergartners have laptops. They're using them. So start keyboarding now. Like as soon as you can, get them to start on keyboarding. So that was that one. So you addressed this, but I'll let you hit it again. Because somebody said, is it better to teach writing 3, 5 times a week, or how often? And I know you talked about this a little bit.
Yeah. Well, basically, what I would say is you definitely, research still says that writing is something that you definitely need to address and teach daily. But again, let's shift our minds away from, well, you don't need a half an hour, 45 minutes of writing instruction daily. Okay. What this means is that you're going to have these, 3 to 5 minute bursts of like writing instruction, like throughout the day, but hopefully like every day throughout, the week. Like, here's an example for you. Okay. So I have these cards that you get, I created them. So you get them as part of the Science of Writing community. But they're cards that have the path of motion for letter formation. So I printed them on colored paper, laminated them, and then I put them in our school outside of places I knew I had to wait. So outside of like the lunchroom or outside of like, the music room or whatever. And so if I'm standing there, even for like 30 seconds, 60 seconds waiting to go in, instead of wasting that time, I'll have kids turn to the wall and trace like 3 of their favorite letters, the path of motion 3 times. So literally it's about, taking those little chunks of time that that you have different places and using them like more effectively. So just the act of like repeating that path of motion and maybe saying the verbal prompt for it, that will automatize the transcription, the writing, so that that's our goal, right? As soon as we can get those transcription skills like automatic, then the kids can take what you've been teaching them in composition and they can put it together and they can become the writers. So yes, every day, but think about it differently. Do a little bit during morning meeting, a little bit as you're waiting for lunch, a little bit before recess, things like that.
And just ask, are the resources available on TPT? Yes, the Fix It Up resources that we have, like this is one right here. Here's an example. Where you're sorting who and the do, the subject and the predicate, and you get to dress up your penguin. Our Fix It Up resources, they are available on TPT. They're also available on TKS Store. They're right here. They are on sale through January 24th at 9 p.m. You can save 20% on each of those. There are currently 3 of them. There will be more, but these are the 3 that we have now. Yeah. And again, they're on sale for 20% off on TPT and TKSstore.com. through January 24th at 9 p.m. Central Time. So you can grab those.
Yep.
And check those out. And again, those are on sale for about the next 24 hours. Save 20%. So grab those. The curriculum that Holly keeps talking about, that you hear us talking about, the scope and sequence, the lesson plans, the resources, those are only available in the Elevate Science of Writing Academy course. That is not on TPT. That is not at tksstore.com. That is through our Elevate Academy. We'll be putting the link to that here in the comments again. So you can just click that link. You can sign up for the course there.
If you just saw the printed out lesson plans or the scope and sequence, that's not going to be nearly as powerful for you until you've gone through those modules where I've told you about how kids' brains are actually wired and all of that. And then it's all going to make sense. So we're never going to plan to sell probably those like separately. Those are part of the course. Yeah.
And Jessica, there's no separate code to sign up for a school license. It's right there on the registration. When you get to the sign up, you'll see that option. So again, all of the information that Holly's talking about is available through the Elevate Science of Writing course, which Holly has put together. So she's basically taken 3 or 4 years of her like living in the research, and she's now turned it into a course and the unbelievable amount of resources that go in the course so that we can all bring this into our classrooms. And along with that, we are now working with Holly to create resources for you
to make it even
those skills, making it even easier, right? Our Fix It Up resources, those are available on TPT and TKS. And again, they're on sale for 20% off through January 24th at 9 p.m. Central Time. So there you go. So you can sign up for the course. You can also grab our Fix It Up resources to make teaching writing easier and more effective. And I think the one thing that I've seen tonight, Holly, that people have, the biggest takeaway has been that we're going to lighten the cognitive load for the kids, because we're going to teach writing in short little bursts.
Yes.
Which means we're going to take stuff off of the plate of ourselves, right?
And you're make it collaborative so they can use oral language and build the writing on that, which makes it so much more fun to teach and to do.
Absolutely. All right. So we're kind of towards the end.
Can I say one more?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. If you listen to us and you're like, oh, this is kind of exciting or whatever, and you maybe have like a partner at school that you're like, hey, I want to get my school on board, you can always bring Greg and I to see you because Elevate, that's one of the things that we do is we literally like kind of customize PDs, and we'll come and visit you and show you and share all the things. So if you're interested in that, we have information on the website about that too.
That's right. You can bring us to your school for an Elevate on-site, or you can come see us this summer at Elevate in person in Nashville, Austin, and St. Paul. So there you go. All right. So we have some great giveaways tonight. We're giving away 1 free registration to the Science of Writing course. We're giving away my first 2 books, which I'm super excited about and so proud of. And we're giving away a $15 gift card to the TKS store. So I'm going to ask Jason, who's upstairs with Adeline, to tell me in the comments or a text, who are we emailing? Who are the winners emailing? And then we will pick some winners.
Do we know?
Not yet.
They could always email me. I don't know, but they probably have winners.
All right, there we go. Jason at elevateyourclassroom.com if you win. So if you win one of tonight's prizes, email Jason at elevateyourclassroom.com. Tell him your name and what you won. So let's give away the first prize. We'll end with the Science of Writing Academy registration. Let's give away the Smorgy books. So this person's going to win my first 2 books. And again, you'll just email Jason at elevateyourclassroom.com if you win. All right, so our first winner is...
I want to win these.
Melissa.
Yay!
Melissa, I'm sorry, Melissa, I don't want to butcher your last name. Melissa Peters Manjarez. You have won my first 2 books. So Melissa, make sure that you send Jason at elevateyourclassroom.com an email to claim your books. Next, we have a $15 gift card to the TKS store, which would cover all 3 Fix-It-Ups while they're on sale. Remember, the Fix-It-Up resources are on sale through January 24th at 9 p.m. Central Time. They're all 20% off. And the winner of the TKS store gift card is Jessica O'Neill. Congratulations, Jessica. So Jessica, you will also send Jason at elevateyourclassroom.com an email to claim your prize. All right. And finally, this is the one everyone's waiting for. Someone is about to win a free registration to our Elevate Academy Science of Writing course with Holly. And the winner of the free registration is Jean Han.
Yeah. Jean is one of my best friends, and she's already in the course, but I don't know if you'll let her give it to a friend, but Jean is my bestie. We talk almost every day. Just because we've gotten to know each other honestly so well through the course. I just have to shout that out because that's how well we get to know each other in this community. But
all right, so all 3 winners, again, make sure you contact Jason at elevateyourclassroom.com and tell him your name and what you won, and he will take care of you. And Jean, because you're already in the course, you can gift it to a friend, or we can actually just refund you. So Jean will email Jason and they'll take care of all of that. Yay. So again, the science of writing, everything that Holly has talked about, this is included in our science of writing course. When we're talking scope and sequence, we're talking detailed lesson plans, pre-K through second.
Like more information than you could even use. Like, yeah, it's 12
modules, lifetime access on demand, so you can watch it anytime, anywhere. We accept POs. We also offer a school-wide license for $1,000. That's for your entire school. So you can take that to your admin. And again, the links to register for the Science of Writing course are right here in the comments. So you can click that and get registered so you can get access to all of this amazing information. And again, our Fix-It-Up resources are available on TPT and TKSstore.com. We will be rolling these out each month. You'll be getting more of these will be coming available.
Yep.
You can grab them now for 20% off through January 24th at 9 p.m. Central Time. The links, again, are in the comments. So again, I want to go through this really quick. The course includes 10 modules. They're about 60 to 90 minutes, plus all of the resources, the scope and sequence, the explicit lesson plans, read alouds, games, everything you need to bring the science of writing into your classroom. It is lifetime access, plus you get access to an exclusive Facebook group and weekly lives with Holly, plus access to her to help with your questions and more. So you can sign up there. The links are in the comments. Check those out. Check out our Fix-It-Up resources. Check out my books. Holly, last thoughts?
I'm just excited. Like, it's hard for me to I just want to share it with like everybody. So everybody just join and be part of our community because I want to see you in the Facebook group. I love just sharing ideas and getting more ideas from you. And we always just want to always hear what we can do to support you the most, because we know how hard it is. We are in the classroom. So we know what it's like. And we just think that you are the most amazing people ever, and your paychecks might not like echo that, but we know it. So I just want to say thank you to the teachers who are out there doing things like hanging out with us on a school night because they just want to get better. That's
absolutely. Well, Holly, thank you for taking the time to take that research and turn it into something that we can all use. Thank you. Y'all, Holly's furnace is out, so she is frozen. So
I'm
thank
sitting
you.
here with like a giant blanket on and a space heater.
So thank you, Holly, for hanging out with us tonight and making us all better. We appreciate you and everything you do.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.